In this video, I'd like us to think a little bit more about what is behind the idea of the checklist, if you want to use it. And we were going to talk about hidden transcripts. In his book, Domination and the Arts of Resistance, Weapons of the Weak, James Scott, writing this book, published in 1990, suggests that there are 4 kinds of hidden transcripts: public and private. And they are paired. There is a public and private transcript narrative for those of us who are subordinates, and there is a public and private transcript for those of us who are in elites. And we are moving between our positions as subordinates and elites, backwards and forwards, each one of us, all day. Do you remember we talked about this, our multidimensional selves? So, for example, a factory manager may be considered a member of the elite, that his workers may dislike him. He's a bully, for example. What they say to each other in private is the subordinate's private narrative, what they say about him. He may walk onto the factory floor and everybody treats him as though he's their long-lost friend. That is the subordinate's public transcript. The private transcript must never be known to him. And then he may have private transcripts where he may talk about his workers in a very different way to peers that he trusts and who are probably on his level and that he's known a long time. A private transcript that he would not wish other stakeholders, particular other stakeholders, perhaps including the workers, to hear or know about. And then this person who's an elite goes home and is immediately forced to take up his place in the house as a subordinate, perhaps, to an angry daughter who is very dissatisfied with what he has been able to provide for her in terms of freedoms or facilities or privileges. Can you see how we move from one to the other all the time? And so, working on that basis, James Scott, who looks at instances of this in many, many different situations, looking into diaries, historical documents, novels, poetry, a wonderful book to read. Also fixes on a particular excellent example of what happens, as I suggested, when a hidden transcript becomes transparent, which is exactly what we're trying to do here with bringing these hidden transcripts of dissatisfaction over particular issues that arise in group work onto the table. We're doing exactly the same. He writes about how Ceausescu, after years of ruling Romania with an iron fist, was making a speech from a balcony on the enormous building that he had built for himself at the expense of the Romanian people. And on film, and you can look this up on YouTube, it's there to see, he is facing a rally of thousands and thousands of people who are holding banners in his support, sometimes banners stretching across many, many people. And yet, as James Scott reports, somebody brave enough, perhaps some students, I think he mentions, boo. And it is picked up by TV microphones. And that is picked up by some technicians in the TV station who then add canned applause. Was it planned? Was it not? We don't know. But the booing is then spreading very quickly across the whole crowd, and within moments, the crowd is surging into the building. Ceausescu and his wife are trying to bring the crowd to order. Bodyguards are very nervous, running behind them, eventually taking them up to the top of the building to whisk them away to safety in their helicopter. Unfortunately, they were caught shortly afterwards and both were executed. But the point is that after years of very strict and oppressive rule, it was over in a moment, and it was over because a hidden transcript finally made its way into the public arena and was picked up. Václav Havel, who was then head of state Czechoslovakia, said, how could it be that so many people knew what to do in a single moment? Well, the same applies in our classrooms. If we know how to cope with, how to manage in a safe space through using compassion, how we dismantle hidden transcripts that we are encouraging to be surfaced here, the negative hidden transcripts around monopolizing students, dominators, freeloaders, etc. It's true that in the original film, Embedding and Assessing Compassion in the University Curriculum, which I'd like to direct you back to, if I may, students are demonstrating these skills far better than I can explain them. I'd like to quickly revise them. And I'd also like to look at a few others that students have developed. And overall, I'd like to say that students have very often adapted what they have discovered or been offered from the scholarship related to compassion and the micro skills that could be built from that. They have adapted it so that it's become a student emergent pedagogy. Because some of the ideas that I had from the scholarship that I shared with them didn't work. And it was up to students to take that scholarship over and try something else. So that is what we'll be doing in the next video, and the video after that will have another look at theory.